This TFMR podcast is brought to you by your friends at JM Bullion. Visit jmbullion.com for all your gold and silver bullion needs.
Hello again from TF Metals Report. These are your podcast highlights for the week of October 17th, 2022. Again, a daily podcast summary is just one of the benefits you get from being a member at TF Metals Report. It's just 50 cents per day. And at this time, this important place, you should consider joining us. On our Monday podcast, October 17th, we discussed a number of things. And one of the key drivers that we covered again that day was the dollar index. It remains in an uptrend of higher highs, higher lows above its 50-day moving average. And we'll know the Fed is getting close to pivoting once the dollar begins to break down. It was down on Monday, which meant all risk assets, including gold and silver, were up. And again, that was just one of the charts we looked at Monday, October 17th. Where are we now on the daily chart as we begin the week and have it underway? Again, the dollar just continues to trek along. Just these weird three candles here. Thursday, Friday, and today. That big red engulfing, bearish engulfing reversal candle from Thursday, but then immediately back up on Friday, then immediately back down today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, is it possible that we could come down and tap the 50-day? Yes, because remember we just talked about a couple of weeks ago. Every other time this year that the dollar's made a new high, and you can see it in all of these pullbacks. A new high in May, pull back to the 50-day. New high in June, pull back to within about a point of the 50-day. New high in July, pull back to the 50-day in August. New high in September, pull back to the 50-day. New high later in September. Has not yet. Got close when it got back to 110 earlier this month. Is it going to go to 110 now? Drop 2 more points? It's not all just precious metals and macroeconomics at TF Metals Report. A lot of us own mining shares too, and it's been a brutal 6 months in the mining shares. One of the benefits that people get from being a member at TFMR is you get to know what shares I own. I freely share that with everyone, that information. A long-held position of mine is First Majestic Silver. I'm lucky to consider Keith Neumeyer, the CEO, a friend. So I wouldn't sell that for anything. I write it up and write it down. And it's down again now, but maybe looking to turn. So the chart of First Majestic Silver was one that we reviewed on Tuesday, October 18th. And finally, how about a couple of specific miners? Some very good drill results, production numbers, stuff like that out of First Majestic today. I have been a long-term holder of First Majestic, and I like to consider myself a long-term acquaintance, if you will, of Keith Neumeyer. Maybe I'll have him back on here soon if I can track him down, just to find out how things are going, not only with all of their silver mines in Mexico, but with the Jarrett Canyon mines that they bought from Eric Sprott about a year and a half ago. Anyway, very interesting chart. You know how we've been talking about silver and silver trying to stabilize, and silver actually about the same price now that it had 3 months ago. So even though it's down 20% of the year, it's at least been stable for the last 90 days. And you can see this in First Majestic, which just came cascading brutally down from 14.5 to 7.5 in not even a month in April and May, but it's been going sideways ever since. Been churning around its 50-day moving average now for the better part of 2.5 months. And you can clearly see a couple of things on this chart. I've been buying a little bit of First Majestic, adding to positions here and there, just a little bit over the last couple of months. If it breaks above, or when it breaks above, this kind of resistance area, 9 to 9.5, well, then it's cooking. And you can definitely say the worst is over. In the meantime, though, it can still oscillate and drop down to 6.5, 7. Certainly has great support at 6.5. So you're looking to add some. Maybe a stink bid goes in there at 7 or just below. But it looks stable at least, and we know they're cranking out good numbers. Wednesday the 19th was another challenging day for the COMEX precious metals as the dollar index soared. All risk assets dumped, including stonks, bonds, you name it. Everything else was down, as was COMEX gold. We're still hoping for a bottom sometime soon. We know that moment is coming. But for now, the chart of COMEX gold is just a continual string of lower highs and lower lows. And until we get that streak to break, we're probably going to keep trending lower. So we'll watch it. We watch it every day, but it was one of the charts we discussed, again, Wednesday, October 19th. I took the lines off of this gold chart. I took the moving average off this gold chart, and you can just see for yourself. Are we maybe painting a double bottom? Yeah, a possibility still exists. Like I said, that closing low that you can see on here, September 26th, was $1 below where we are today, $16.33. Opened weaker, tried to rally on September 27th. That was a Tuesday. Got all the way down to $16.22 on the December contract on Wednesday, September 28th. Well, that's 3 weeks ago. And then took off on a 5 or 6 day rally all the way up to $17.40, and now it's just giving all that right back. So this chart would suggest another lower low is coming, and it's hard to believe it's not, especially if the stock market's about ready to just puke as the dollar soars even farther and rates go up. But there's still at least a hope here for a double bottom. No more in a couple of days, I suppose. On Thursdays at TFMR, we often like to do something a little different, maybe have a special guest in for an interview. We call it a Thursday Conversation. It's always free, public audio. Anybody can stop by and listen. And I would encourage you to visit tfmetalsreport.com to listen to this week's Thursday Conversation with noted author James Howard Kunstler. Really smart guy. Been around a long time, seen a lot of stuff, and he's written more than 20 books. It was a pleasure to get a chance to visit with him, get a chance to know him, and to introduce him to everyone at TFMR. Again, stop by. The link's right there on the homepage. Give it a listen. I think you'll find it very interesting. On Friday, October 21st, we had another one of those days that gives you a hint of what's to come later this year, early next, when the Fed does finally get forced into a retreat. Overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning, things look pretty bleak. The dollar was spiking, interest rates were spiking, and that all-important dollar-yen was trading all the way up to 152. It looked like Friday was going to be a real bad day for all-risk assets. And instead, here came another yen intervention, the Bank of Japan coming in to buy yen exactly 1 month to the day from the first time they did it, September 21st, driving the yen back from 146 to 141, this time driving it back from 152 to 147. All risk assets rallied and reversed. Stock market's going to go out with a big up day, and gold too. Gold got all the way down to 1621. But right now, as gold getting ready to wrap up the session, it's at 1661. Could we be on the verge of another big short squeeze? If anything, looks like maybe the metals have bottomed. We'll see. We'll know more next week, and certainly the week after with the next FOMC meeting. For now, though, at least we wrap up with a green day in the precious metals. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to having another TF Metals Report podcast highlight program for you next week.